Hi, I'm Judith Coles from WholeheartedHome.com, and I thought I'd do something different that I haven't seen done on a Periscope before. I have a book by my father that he wrote. It's not a book, it's like a little booklet. He basically typed it up because he used to tell the story that I'm going to read to my children, his grandchildren. So this was done for his grandchildren, but I found it the other day, and I didn't want it to just go without, just get lost and not be used again. So what I thought is that I would read it aloud to your children. So if you have your children, get them on board here and have them watch. And if nobody watches, that's okay, because I don't have a lot of followers yet. And if you are watching, tap the screen and little hearts go up if you're watching me on Periscope. And if you're watching me after this has gone live, Periscopes, or as we call them, scopes, stay live for 24 hours. And then we can put them somewhere else, like on YouTube or on our blog or Facebook. And there's a way to do that. And so you might see little comments. I don't get a lot because I don't have a big following yet. Or little hearts will go up the screen. So just in case you're watching and anybody does that, you know, likely I'm catching when everybody is, when they're, thanks for following me, Holly. When they're teaching their kids, so maybe they can't, you know, watch it. But I'll have a way to watch this later. So I'm going to read this story, and this story is Isadore the Naughty Caterpillar by Anthony Bollback. He's my dad, and he's written a lot of quite a few children's books. In case you're interested, maybe I'll put them in the. So anyway. Isadore was a happy, mischievous caterpillar who lived with his brothers and sisters in a beautiful tree growing by the side of the railroad tracks near Pine Bush. Isadore liked to roam all over the countryside because he wanted to see everything that was happening around his home. His mother gave him careful instructions every day as he started out to make new discoveries. She warned him that there were many dangerous things that could happen to a little caterpillar, and he would have to be careful. Isadore always said, "Don't worry about me, Mother. I'm growing up to be a big caterpillar like Daddy." But she worried about her little son, who was not afraid of anything. One day, as Isadore started out on one of his adventures, his mother said, "Isadore, I noticed that you were going too close to the railroad tracks near our tree. You must be careful never to go up on the tracks, because the big train travels much faster than you can walk, and you could be killed on the tracks." As usual, Isadore said, "Don't worry, Mother. I've got big ears, and I can see everything." Now, Isadore had never gone near the tracks. When the big train came rushing along, it made the ground shake, and the noise was awful. He did just what his mother said. He just climbed a bush and watched the train rush by. It was so big, so fast, and so long. He wished he could be as long and as big as the train. Then he would be the biggest caterpillar in the field. Everyone would say, "Isadore, you are the biggest caterpillar we have ever seen." The more he thought about that, the more he wanted to get as close to the train as he could. Sometimes the big train even stopped by his tree for a long time. He thought, maybe I could crawl up on the tree and go far away and see what was on the other side of the big field. Then, when I came back home, everyone would say, "Isadore, you are the smartest caterpillar in the field." He liked that thought as he crawled closer and closer to it. Wait just a minute. To the tracks. As he sat waiting for the train to come, he stopped. He hoped this would be the day it would stop. Oh, he wanted to climb on board and go for a ride. It wasn't long before the ground began to shake as the train approached. He edged closer to the tracks so he could get a better view. Then, inside of him, he heard a little voice saying, "Isadore, remember what Mother said. "Don't go near the tracks. It's dangerous." Isadore thought, "Mothers always say don't. But I'm a big caterpillar. I'm not afraid because I want to see what's in the next field." He crawled closer to the tracks, and now he could see the train coming. He crawled faster and faster. He had a funny feeling inside of him that today the train was going to stop. And sure enough, it was slowing down. It was going to stop. This was his big chance to go for a ride. The train looked bigger than he had ever imagined it to be. Looking at it from the tree, he watched, and watching it go by fast made it seem just a little bigger than himself. Now, it looked like a huge monster sitting there on the tracks in front of him. The little voice said again, "Isadore, stay away from the train. It is dangerous." He stopped a moment and remembered what his mother said. He knew he was not obeying his wise mother. But he only stopped a moment, and then off he went again. This time he was determined to get on that train. One of his sisters saw him heading toward the train, and she shouted, "Isadore, Isadore, stop! The train is dangerous. Remember, Mother always tells us to stay away from the tracks." Isadore looked back and laughed. "Ha, ha, ha!" He called out loudly, "Don't worry about me. I'm big and strong. I'm brave." His sister began to cry, but Isadore just went on his way laughing. As he approached the train, he wondered how he could get on the train. It was very high, much higher than the little tree where he lived. There was only one way, he thought. Crawl up on the tracks and then on a wheel. Surely there must be some way to get to the top of the train. As he started to crawl onto the wheel, that little voice started shouting in his ear, "Isadore, you are disobeying your mother. You are going to get in trouble. So go back before it's too late." But Isadore wouldn't listen. He crawled onto the wheel. It took him quite a while to decide what to do next. He walked around and around the wheel, but he couldn't get higher. Now he crawled to the very top of the wheel, and he sat there looking around. The little voice inside started talking to him again. "Isadore, you will be crushed under the wheel when the train begins to move. If you stay where you are, get off while you can. Don't be a foolish caterpillar." But Isadore said to the little voice, "Now you be quiet for a change. I don't see anything dangerous about this train. Why, I've crawled higher in a tree than this." The little voice stopped speaking, and Isadore was glad. Oh, so glad. Then, all of a sudden, there was a loud bang and a hard jerk. Isadore didn't know what was happening because he had never been on a train before. The railroad man had just connected another car to the end of the train. The only thing Isadore knew was that he was beginning to get frightened. Now he wished he had listened to his mother and that little voice inside of him. What should he do? The little voice had said it was dangerous to be on top of the wheel. He looked over the edge and decided to crawl onto the side of the wheel. It was a good thing Isadore did, because he had just gotten onto the side of the wheel when it began to turn. At first, it went very slowly, around and around. Well, he's starting to get dizzy, but then it started going faster. Isadore hung on tightly and wished he had never climbed onto the train. Isadore tried to see the big field where he lived, but he was going around in circles. He was getting dizzy. "Stop!" he cried. But the train just went faster and faster. "I can't hang on any longer," he cried. "Someone help me! Mother, help!" His feet were so tired from hanging on, and his head was so dizzy from going around and around. Finally, exhausted, he just let go, and he went sailing through the air. He landed in the field, a long way from his tree, and just lay there for a long time. At last, he realized he was still alive, but he didn't know where he was. Everything looked different. Then the little voice inside of him began to speak again. "Isadore, you should have obeyed your mother. You almost got crushed under the wheel of the train. You should have listened to your mother." Isadore began to cry, and he said, "I was a bad caterpillar. Mother was right. The train is big and dangerous. If I ever get back to my tree again, I will always do what Mother says. Oh, I'm so sorry that I disobeyed." Now, Mother had always said, if you got lost, climb a big tree and look around. Maybe you will be able to see your tree and find your way home. He wanted to obey his mother now, so he climbed the big tree and looked and looked and looked for his own tree. But this was a different field than his. Everything was strange. He was lost. As he sat there crying, a beautiful butterfly floated by and landed near Isadore. Isadore called the butterfly. "Isadore," called the butterfly, "don't be afraid. I can help you. Who are you?" asked Isadore, drying his tears. The butterfly answered, "My name is Michael. I am what you will be someday. After the long winter, you will come out of your cocoon, and you will have wings just like mine. Then you will be able to fly very high and very far. But first, you must learn to obey your mother and father. If you do what they tell you, you will have wings someday. It is better to fly than to try and ride the train." Caterpillars were not made to ride trains. They were created by God to fly high in the sky. "Oh," said Isadore, "I have been a very disobedient caterpillar. I disobeyed my mother, and I almost got crushed by the train. I didn't listen to my conscience either. Now I am lost, and I can't find my way home. Can you help me find my tree?" "Yes," said Michael the butterfly. "I know where your tree is, but it is a long way from here. You must do just what I tell you and follow me. You will get very tired, but I can lead you back." "I will listen to you, Michael. Just lead me back, and I will never disobey." Again, "All right," said Michael. "I will fly ahead of you. You can only crawl very slowly, so I will fly nearby and lead you. Just keep your eyes on me." Michael flew off and circled around and around as Isadore crawled down the tree and started following. It was really a long walk. The train had carried him a long distance. Before he fell off, could he make it back to his tree? It felt like his legs would fall off. They were so tired, but Michael kept flying nearby and calling to him to follow. Then, after such a long walk, Michael landed nearby and said, "You are almost home. Look over there. See? There is your tree. I'll fly over and tell your mother you are coming home. I know she is worried about you because you have been gone a long time. Please tell my mother that I am sorry, that I will never disobey again. I'll tell her, Isadore, but remember that what you have promised. And next time, listen to that little voice inside of you, which helps you remember what your mother tells you. I will, said Isadore, and I will never go near the railroad tracks again. And that's the end of the story of Isadore, the Naughty Caterpillar, by Anthony G. Bollback. That's my father, and he has written quite a number of children's books and some adult books. And I hope you enjoyed it. But what I want to say to you children is that Jesus can be your guide, and you can obey your mother, but you also need to obey Jesus and ask Jesus into your heart, and he will come into your heart and live in your life, and you will never be the same. You'll be transformed, just like Isadore is going to be transformed into a butterfly, and he'll be totally different, and he will be beautiful, and you can too. And I just hope you enjoyed the story, girls and boys. And for those moms who are here, I am Judith Coles, and I'm from wholeheartedhome.com, and I blog there about 3 times a week, and I'll be adding this to my blog one of these days, and maybe even Facebook. And I hope you'll follow me and share this. And if you're seeing this on my blog, this is done on Periscope. It's called a scope, and you can follow me on Periscope. And I am on Periscope. I'm Judith at Wholehearted Home. And how I've spelled that is WHOLEHERTDHOME. Okay, my name is Judith Coles, and I'm glad you joined me today. Okay.